Salut à tous et bienvenue sur la chaîne des deux cosmonautes. Dans cette vidéo, je vais te présenter les différentes thèses d'investissement de l'année 2021 du point de vue des plus gros fonds d'investissement, puis le point de vue des plus gros gérants et développeurs de la blockchain. Je te présente ça sous la forme de compilation à partir des interviews disponibles sur la chaîne du journal du coin. Allez, bon visionnage, c'est parti.
Having said all, and I do believe in the long run, the most probable chain to achieve that status as being the dominant one is Solana. With the one exception of things like Filecoin and Arweave, which are just like structurally different things.
Like my main focus right now actually is like scalability and application layer. So Mina just came out. That's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. Their testnet was extremely active, and their angle to other layer ones is unique. So I think there's something to do, that could be interesting there. And then obviously Arbitrum just came out, so it'll be interesting to see, how layer 2 Ethereum evolves with Polygon, Arbitrum, Optimism, and obviously Starkware. Each of them are slightly, nuanced in their own way.
When it comes to just my largest holdings are in Bitcoin and Ethereum still, when it comes to like weighting them. When looking at different L1s, I'm mostly interested in 4 projects, and that's Solana, Avalanche, Cosmos, and Polkadot. And then obviously I follow DeFi like really closely. Everything new in DeFi that comes out, I tend to try it. However, I'm not one of those guys that like invests in the super small ones and like spreads, to hundreds of different ones and then hopes that they're going to work out. I'm mostly interested in the largest ones. So that includes like Uniswap, Aave, Compound, Synthetics, a few of the big ones. But currently, the thing that I'm most excited about right now is the L2s. So Arbitrum going to be public soon. Optimism looks like Uniswap will go live there within the next 2 weeks. I think that's going to define the space over the next 2 months.
So I would say like one of my favorites is Ethereum, because they are basically like building stuff and like giving back at the same time.
Yeah, and actually that's actually one important thing that we want to do. Right? I think right now we are a bit busy shipping the mainnet, right? But once we have definitely once we have some space, we would love to kind of like work on some open source projects as well to kind of like let everyone use, because right now Solana right now is still lacking in like tutorials, right? So tutorials and libraries, so we intend to contribute more there. Okay, so on my end, I think it's going to sound really boring. Let me share too. I like Bitcoin.
Definitely a big connection with Cosmos. Solana also, right? So we've known Solana teams since 2018 and been like, very close with them, and ran validators from the first test nets and I think with Solana, they really did push the boundaries in so many ways, and I think this single-minded focus on like maximizing throughput and performance from the start, and I think I have a great admiration for like how just the clarity of focus on that and pulling that through everything.
I'm a huge fan of Solana. Another thing where I'm very excited about is Lido Finance. So Lido is being used as part of the DeFi stack to form staking derivatives to enable Anchor's money markets. So it's a really important part of the stack. I'm also a big fan of Thorchain.
Yeah. It's amazing how they can sign how there is like this interchain liquidity solution. So Ren, I assume these technologies are interesting.
So there's a lot of projects that are trying to do this. Can we programmatically generate a signature? And Ren and Thorchain and Keep in some ways do this. The other one that I like is Arweave. The idea that you can have proof of work for permanent storage, you pay once, it's always there, is really kind of like a eureka moment idea.
What are the other projects I happen to like? So let's start from the highest layer. So when it comes to well, actually, let me start at the lowest layer. Obviously, I think very highly of Avalanche and where it's going. I happen to come from the Ethereum background. I happen to love Ethereum, and I hope it goes well where it's going. I happen to disagree with ETH2. I think it's the wrong protocol for scaling. But I do like Ethereum, and will always have a soft spot for it. I also like Tezos, and Tezos was a great project. I was an advisor to Tezos, and it happens to have a foundation that is based on functional programming and analyzability, and that's a really nice set of features as well. So let's see. What else do I think? When it comes to DeFi applications, there are many that I happen to love to bits. I do like Uniswap and its simplicity and the way it uses its liquidity pools. I do not like the fact that sometimes it's very expensive to use. So there will be other technologies that we will see that are far more capital efficient. And Uniswap v3 is trying to get there, but it's just stretching the wrong model. And I think we're going to see the right model take over with a fast chain. So let's see. Chainlink is a project I happen to love as well. So Chainlink is the Oracle project. We need connection from the blockchain world to the real world. And that's what Chainlink offers. So I happen to like those. So in addition to these, there are so many interesting platforms. There are some really exciting algorithmic stablecoins.
Honnêtement, Cosmos, ils font du bon boulot. Je suis assez fan de ce qu'ils font. J'ai pas peur de le dire, tu vois, ça c'est pas parce que je dis ça que je me sens comment dire, que mon bag à Vax va plonger directement.
And if there's any team like that, I think it's the SushiSwap team, man. Like, I've been speaking to them, and when they deployed on Fantom, they did it so quick. They were really pleasant to work with, good in communication. They're always trying to think of new ideas, always trying to collaborate, right? And obviously, I think what Uniswap has done, for example, was really great. But if you look at what Hayden Adams is doing, they're not really trying to build a developer community around them, right? Whereas SushiSwap, they're collaborating with all these new DeFi protocols and trying to figure out synergies. That's what I really like to see. And the same with the guys from Curve as well. That's a fantastic team too. So I don't really think anybody in the space can go wrong with any of these bigger DeFi protocols.
As far as cross-chain, technologies go, I'm still, big, I'm big on that as being one of the key challenges to solve. And yes, Polkadot solves it within its ecosystem, but there's still, how do you connect to other chains? So, there's a project that hasn't launched yet, Project Axelar, like Boston here. I'm pretty
Algorand.
I'm pretty hot on that. And I'd say that the other thing I'd say there's a storage. I think storage is like is still something that is there needs to be better kind of solutions for. So for example, I'm a pretty big fan of Arweave, like in terms of like the tech stack, a lot of what they're doing there. I think that there's interesting work there. And I see adoption happening there, like grassroots adoption and adoption for NFT like use cases, right? Where to store the metadata is kind of the question.
Yeah, I think for me, I am drawn to a lot of the stuff happening on Ethereum, like both within DeFi and outside of DeFi. I was reading up on this project, Proof of Humanity, recently, and I don't know that much about them, so I can't
Idina?
Sorry?
It's called Idina maybe?
Oh, Proof of Humanity. This is just a random one I was reading up on. This is no way, I don't know their full deal or anything, but I think that kind of what they're doing is some kind of experiment where they're doing more identity verification on Ethereum. I think that kind of thing is really cool. I think I'm drawn more to these kinds of earlier stage things that could be really big like that. I definitely watch the compounds and the Uniswaps of the world, and those are doing cool things. But sometimes I question the market is, I think, doing optimal things in the short run, but maybe we can think in the medium or long run too, and what are cool things happening there as well.
For example, there are so many projects that are doing really amazing, like Aave, for example. They've been growing really nicely. They're trying to do a decentralized Twitter, which I'm actually very excited about to follow. I think they announced at ECC that they're going to build a decentralized Twitter, and so excited to follow that. I think, of course, like some of the DeFi protocols are being very innovative, like Sushi's building into all the different financial products that it'll become, for lack of a better word, like the JP Morgan of DeFi or something, because they'll have all these different lending, swaps, like Launchpad. It's basically like doing an IPO in the traditional world. And so I think that's what's cool still about the space. It's like we can replicate and build even more amazing things that traditional finance could never have done. And it's just the beginning, right? These protocols are still very small, that the future can be very exciting. And then what else? I think, just all the up and coming projects, especially around DAOs and self-organizing. Like every interesting aspect about DAOs, someone in the Ethereum ecosystem or in Web3 is already building and working on, right? And that will help us, coordinate investments, coordinate resource allocation, even help unlock more talent. Basically, like instead of one person working at one company and being not fully utilized, right? They can work for multiple DAOs. They can maximize their talent, maximize their earnings. I think that's the future of work via DAOs is something that we don't talk about enough in crypto, actually.
I only hold Ethereum, and I am like extremely, after Polygon, my biggest bags would be Ethereum only.
A decentralization maximalist, and so of course Bitcoin and Ethereum, my first loves, but also anything that's kind of decentralizing the stack. So I really like Radical, their decentralized code. I really like Ceramics, which is storage. So many Connext, which is helping to have interoperability between blockchains. I also love like the layer 2s that are coming out, like ZK Sync, Starkware once they open source, and of course Optimism, Arbitrum.
Maintenant, moi, ce qui m'intéresse, c'est comme je te disais au début, c'est comment est-ce que la société elle utilise ces technologies-là, parce que quand on parle de société, c'est la somme des individus qui sont connectés entre elles à travers un contrat social. Le contrat social, c'est celui que Rousseau avait déterminé. Mais finalement, ce contrat social, quand il évolue avec le temps, et puis aujourd'hui, il a bien évolué forcément, et surtout lorsqu'on vient avec des outils numériques. Et ce qui m'intéresse, c'est comment est-ce que ces nouvelles choses en fait viennent modifier ce contrat social-là. Donc là où j'ai vraiment une passion, et puis je trouve que c'est des projets. Alors c'est pas des projets c'est pas un token particulier ou un projet spécial, hein, mais c'est l'univers des DAO, l'univers de ces nouvelles formes d'organisation. Où en fait la manière dont on va créer un projet, la manière dont on va investir, interagir dans ces projets-là et change complètement.
Néanmoins, une crypto n'a pas été oubliée, je garde le meilleur pour la fin.
Après Cosmos, nous franchement, Deep Blue et moi, on adore, et j'en ai aussi du Atom. Franchement, c'est un bon projet, il est interopérable, ils font des trucs qui sont super, il n'y a rien à dire. Cosmos, c'est un bon projet.
Honnêtement, Cosmos, ils font du bon boulot. Je suis assez fan de ce qu'ils font.
Ce que j'aime beaucoup avec Cosmos, c'est que le projet a une distribution beaucoup plus sympathique que Solana ou Avalanche, faut dire ce qui est, ou NIR. On a Cosmos, les systèmes d'interopérabilité, Polkadot, Cosmos arrivent à maturité. On a enfin des expériences pour échanger des assets entre différentes chaînes qui sont très sympathiques, très fluides, qui sont enfin possibles, des protocoles de messages interchaînes qui sont sympas. Mais pour moi, celui qui est le plus avancé, c'est au Cosmos. Et celui sur lequel je suis le plus optimiste et je vois le meilleur upside, c'est Cosmos pour l'année 2022, avec les interchain accounts, tous les projets qui se construisent sur Cosmos qui sont d'une qualité exceptionnelle, comme par exemple Nim, Axelar, Yumi, il y a tellement de choses en fait construites avec le Cosmos SDK, Agoric, EVMOS. On va avoir tout un subset de services sur des blockchains souveraines connectées à l'écosystème Cosmos qui peuvent répondre à tous vos problèmes. Vous voulez une blockchain pour les produits dérivés, très rapide, il y en a une. Vous voulez une blockchain, par exemple, qui gère du JavaScript pour les contrats, avec en plus des garanties de sécurité supérieures, de la vérification formelle, pas d'attaque de redondance, etc. Vous avez Agoric. Vous voulez une blockchain pour déployer en Solidity sur Cosmos, vous avez EVMOS. Vous voulez une blockchain ou, par exemple, une marketplace, un AMM cross-chain efficace et intuitif, sympa, avec une belle communauté, une belle direction de développement, vous avez Osmosis. Vous voulez un money market avec plus ou moins le même profil qu'Osmosis. Vous avez Yumi. Vous avez tellement de choses intéressantes qui arrivent. Et on a des solutions qui vont augmenter cette connectivité de Cosmos pour rendre cet écosystème compatible avec Bitcoin et Ethereum. Voilà, moi, je vous dis disclaimer direct, j'ai du Cosmos. Je pense que l'upside est intéressant, mais il y a très fortement d'autres tokens qui peuvent mieux performer. Je vous dis juste que sur le papier, on fera le point dans un an. Je ne fais pas de top altcoin ou autre. Je partage juste ce que je pense. Je pense que dans un an, il y aura une appréciation qui est sympa. En fait, la nature reprend toujours ses droits au bout d'un moment. Le système qui propose la meilleure expérience utilisateur et le plus de features, le plus de services et qui sécurise le plus de valeur, finira toujours par triompher et avoir une appréciation à l'image de sa qualité. Pour l'instant, Cosmos, il délivre. C'est super, c'est puissant. Cosmos n'a pas de champion. C'est-à-dire que Ethan, Jake1, etc., il est devenu totalement fou sur Twitter. Il poste plus. Je crois qu'il s'est fait il n'y a personne qui représente en fait Cosmos. Il y a plusieurs figures qui supportent l'écosystème, mais je ne vois pas en fait qu'est-ce qui porte le flambeau de Cosmos. Il peut y avoir plein de gens qui meurent, qui touchent à Cosmos. Je ne pense pas que ça aura un impact critique sur Cosmos. Mais sur Ethereum, si Vitalik meurt, c'est quand même un drame. Sur la Binance Smart Chain, si CZ meurt, c'est la merde. Sur Fantom, si André Conge meurt, c'est pas cool. Sur Avalanche, si Emin Gun meurt, c'est pas cool. Sur Solana, si Anatoly ou SBF meurt, c'est vraiment pas cool. En fait, ce sont des blockchains c'est une qualité d'avoir un champion porteur, mais c'est aussi une vulnérabilité. Quand vous transférez beaucoup de l'autorité, en fait, quand votre santé dépend énormément de la qualité d'un acteur ou de deux acteurs, vous créez une sorte de vecteur d'attaque, une vulnérabilité importante. Ce que j'aime beaucoup avec Cosmos, c'est qu'il n'y a pas cette notion de champion aussi. C'est vraiment décentralisé at the core. Voilà.
J'assume. Je trouve que l'approche de Cosmos, je la préfère.
Mais Cosmos, c'est plus en avance. Tu vois, par exemple, sur l'interopérabilité, sur Avalanche, les subnets, ils sont annoncés, ils sont sur le papier, ils sont théorisés, mais concrètement, en pratique, ils ne sont pas là. Alors que si on regarde l'interopérabilité, moi, j'ai commencé à faire des swaps cross-chain sur Cosmos. Ah, franchement, j'ai halluciné, hein, c'est puissant.
C'est le truc qui fait que l'écosystème Cosmos est pour moi le meilleur de tous en termes d'interop. IBC, c'est une révolution. IBC, c'est une révolution. IBC, c'est une révolution.